Hello, BookTube. I mentioned recently that I was out on a perambulation with the little bee, uh, and we came across a little free library, and I found this. I found a poetry anthology of all things. That this is a 1930s poetry anthology called The New Poetry, and somebody in the 1960s put a school dust jacket on it with the class and the school and whatnot made by holiday cleaners. uh, and obviously it sat in somebody's attic forever and ever for a half a century and made its way, I swear, the stories books could tell, made its way circuitously to that little free library into my hand. So I thought, I'll grab it. Absolutely. I remember these dust jackets. Uh, and that prompted me to read a poem and then read another poem. And I got a whole bunch of emails from a lot of you. I'm still getting emails from a lot of you saying that you really miss when we read poetry. You like it when I read you a poem every day. And that you vote that we reinstall that and keep doing poetry, not only from this collection, but all over the place. To which I want to remind you all that this is not a democracy. This is a ruthless dictatorship. The only reason that it's more palatable than most ruthless dictatorships is that its figurehead and, dare I say, godhead is a stone-cold super hottie. But nevertheless, I thought, even though it encourages such demagogic tactics, I thought I would read another poem today to you from this anthology. I cannot get enough of this anthology. I already know I'm reading it. I'm sort of inching along just as I go from the beginning, rather than popping in and out at different parts in the anthology. And I already know what's coming because this is a poetry anthology from the 1930s. So this is going to be lousy with Ezra Pound. I guarantee that it will be, unless our two anthologizers here had the good sense to hate his work, but I highly doubt it. We haven't got him yet. Instead, we're dealing today with a poet named Howard McKinley Corning, who's completely gone. Like so many poets that I've mentioned, he's completely gone. He was he wasn't a Nebraska native, but he was a Nebraska poet. Definitely, he went to Nebraska and fell in love with the landscape. And that's what this poem is partly about. We're going to read a poem called Rainbow Lands. Winter has no cold teeth to crumble these, the painted desert and the rainbow tower. These are the changeless principalities, the walls of wonder and the dreamer's dower. I have rejected cities to go free a season where the trails lift toward the sky, bedding my campfires by old masonry. The lean cold does not find me where I lie. And though by times I think how beds are white in rooms I frequented, and how sweet food assailed the tongue and comfort in the night, I find, for being more the man, the good clean earth propitiates. The rich blood sings. See how the morning rides on painted wings. I don't have a date on this, but it would have been from the first part of the 20th century. Hence that glancing reference to for being more the man. Because I doubt that Howard McKinley Corning, I doubt that it ever occurred to his writing brain that women could enjoy going out and camping out in the middle of nowhere. Even though I can almost I don't know this author's biography. He's never had a written biography, as far as I know. As once again, it's a broken refrain of mine. He's had volumes of his own poetry, but he's never had a collected poetry with annotations and an introduction. That could easily happen. You could fit his entire professional life's work into one ordinary-sized volume, but no one's ever bothered to do it, as far as I know. And I guarantee, I don't know anything about his life, in other words, but I guarantee you that when he was writing this poem, he knew women who went out camping on their own and came back singing the same praises about the morning rides on painted wings and whatnot. The things he's referring to here, the masonry, are crumbling old structures. Sometimes indigenous crumbling old structures, where you can find them in the oddest places all throughout the plains and the upper Midwest, where you can camp and you can find a little bit of shelter from the cold. It's sometimes amazing to people who don't go out and hike and explore the world like that, how hot it can be during the day and how cold it can get at night, how fast that can happen. You're just not ready for it. You're tramping around avoiding, to the best of your ability, in my case, zero ability, avoiding rattlesnakes. You're tramping around avoiding rattlesnakes during the day, thinking, my God, if it's like this, then by 10 tonight, maybe it will have cooled off. But by 10, it's in the mid-40s Fahrenheit, and probably going lower than that. the shelters can help with that. They reflect the heat from campfires and whatnot. But I love the clear iron precision of what's going on here. I haven't read much of this author's work. I'm guilty of the same neglect that I'm criticizing the publishing world for. He has a couple of other poems in this anthology. I may go and I may read all of them and maybe go and find a little bit more. Who knows what the status is of Howard McKinley Corning? Have I ever seen a volume of his? I think he did 3 or 4 volumes of poetry in his lifetime. Have I ever seen one of them at the Brattle? It would have no resale value, so it would be in the sale lot. Have I ever seen it and just ignored it? I have no idea. Have I ever seen him, for instance, on the shelves of the Boston Athenaeum, which tends not to get rid of old books? Have I ever seen the volume of his there and just ignored it, just passed over it as yet another volume of slim poetry? But this is lovely. This bit of Rainbow Lands, which combines really heartfelt, really well-controlled nature poetry with the kind of personal self-invention through grappling one-on-one with nature that was so popular at the time. The first half of the 20th century is just rife with that kind of thing, where if you're a man, you don't go out into the painted desert or wherever in order to write about how beautiful the nature is. You don't just do that. There always has to be an element of self-invention or reinvention there. It can get a little tiresome. There are far more famous examples of it than this. They're all gone now. All those examples are gone. But once upon a time, they were far, far more famous examples than this. But this, I thought, was rather lovely. And it mirrors my own experiences when I wasn't dodging scorpions and rattlesnakes. So that was an extra bonus. So that's a little bit of poetry for today. That's Howard McKinley Corning from our old school textbook. No idea if there'll be poetry tomorrow. It will entirely depend on my Brezhnev-style whimsy, since no votes apply. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.